All right, all right, all right. What is up? Looks like everything is going the way it should be. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Holodeath. Oh, goodbye, Holodeath. uh, so, hopefully, I don't know. It doesn't look good on my screen. Let me try to change this. Can I fix this? Let's see. That might be better. That might be better. Let's see. Yeah. Cynthia, hopefully you can see the words over my head flipping tables. At least I see it on my end. I hope you see it on your end. Theodore, hello. That's right. Good trouble indeed. Good trouble indeed. We're gonna talk about that. And amongst other things, I mean it's actually hard to figure out what to talk about these days because there's just so much going on. Dark Possum, what's up? Double D, not derailed diesel. What's up? Chiss or Kiss 927? Surf Montana, how you doing? Welcome. So I'll introduce the show. This is Yoddah Live. Yoddah is spelled Yoddah because film studios are litigious, and I am Yoddah. Oh, all right. Thank you for the heart me, Dark Possum, and everyone else. As always, go for that heart me. Let the platform know that we are here. Surf Montana says, "What are you putting tables out today?" Not quite clear on that question, but oh, what are you putting tables about today? So, well, okay. So, what flipping tables is a reference to, of course, is the fictional literary story, and I will get to that. So, as always, tap the screen to let the platform know we're here. While you're tapping, or before you start tapping, after you're tapping, whatever way it works, you can hold your finger gently on the middle of your screen, and your friends list will pop up. And you will see the word send next to each of them. And if you have lists, they'll be next to the list as well. And you can go down the list. I like scrolling to the middle, to the quarter way through, or all the way to the end. Sometimes I go backwards, but you can invite, I believe, 40 to 50 people that way. And I don't really focus on audience size, but the more the merrier. We have fun. We like to spread it around. So, oh, you're welcome. You mean about sharing, the putting your finger down? Yeah, I learned that through coming into lives and having people explain that to me. I believe the first one that I heard explain that was Danny. I didn't know that was a thing until Danny explained it. Hello, Patricia. Hello, Johnny. People are trickling in and out as always. Surf Montana, you are right in the pocket of what we're going to discuss. Absolutely. So, for those of you who weren't here yesterday, I talked about my hero, Danny, and it was It was really great for me. And there he is, right on time. Danny, welcome. Danny is the tapper in chief. Whenever he comes on to a live, first thing he does is take care of that heart me. Then, whatever trinkets and gifts and stuff. It is amazing. It's a good man to have on your side. So, yeah, today I actually got up earlier than usual, which was good because I got to get a few things done before I met up with my buddy. Well, I shouldn't say I met up with him. He came here to get me. Hello, Danny. And we had dinner, had a chance to sit outside and on a beautiful night and talk and laugh. Oh man, I don't think my heart can contain all the love that I've been feeling for the last few days. So I am a happy camper. I'm a very, very happy camper. So, so let me start kind of the on ramp to the point of this live. And again, it's really hard to pick one topic these days because every day there is an onslaught, just an assault to the senses. A lot of it has to do with the cruelty of this administration. A lot of it has to do with the corruption of this administration, the humiliating things like, you know, I made a post about this earlier, and I know that this is like a real Sun Tzu kind of thing, but I grew up in that mindset. Hey, thanks, Jordan, for the heart me. Um, because I've been in martial arts since 1977, you get exposed to Eastern philosophy and, ancient ways of thinking about combat and things like that. And, the tech bros and the finance bros, especially the finance bros, they all read this book from Sun Tzu, which is Art of WAR, because they glorify themselves thinking that trading stocks is the same thing as getting into a samurai encounter. And of course it isn't, but that's how they do things. Hello, Vicky. Good to see you. And what I'm about to say is in the mold of Sun Tzu. It's not how I normally think about things, but I just couldn't help how humiliating it was for Dump, as the most powerful human being on planet Earth, whether we like it or not. The office of the American president is the most powerful position on Earth. And I don't think that's debatable, but I could, if people want to debate that, they can. Hello, Jessica. Good to see you. Wellington, hello. So when I saw that they met in Alaska, I had to think about Sun Tzu and about the strategy of an American president going to meet the Russian leader in Alaska because obviously Alaska is convenient for Pootie Pie, right? It's easy for him to get to Alaska. A real president would have made him come to DC, right? And Dump stood there on a fucking red carpet that they laid out for a criminal, clapping like a child, standing there looking like a fucking buffoon, and hosts this dictator, this absolute animal, this criminal. And of course, we the people pay for that through our tax dollars. And what we get for it Absolutely fucking nothing. And again, it's relying heavily on Sun Tzu, art of WAR stuff, but still, how weak, how weak this guy looks. And of course, Russia already knows that. What Dump doesn't realize is that Russian television makes fun of him all the time. They think he's a joke. They don't take him seriously at all. Not in the slightest. They have no regard for this guy. Not like they had for Biden, not like they had for Obama, not like they would have had for Harris, not like they would have had for Clinton, and all these hyper masculine man boys in the MAGA hat cult were swearing up and down that Dump was so formidable that he could end these conflicts on the first day in office. Well, we're 7 months in, and all PewDiePie has done is escalate. The worst attack that happened in this conflict was done this year under Dump's nose. Did he stop it like he promised he could? Certainly didn't. And MAGA hats are like, well, he was being hyperbolic. Really? So that's what we're doing now? We're going to pretend that you know when he's telling the truth and when he's lying? Really? How about he's always lying? Just start there and be surprised if he says the truth. And it leads me into my topic. It's because it's really, you know, um, I know I could spend my time up here um, addressing dumb comments like what Fisher just said, still your president. No, he's not my president. He's the president. My president is Kamala Harris. Your president is a 34-time convicted felon that was held civilly liable for rape and accused by 13-year-olds of being a PDF file. That's your president. Because you're a twit. And I can't believe that an adult had everything they could have possibly written as a comment, and that's what you decided to write. You sycophantic, jockeying simp for a billionaire who does not know you're alive. And you're simping for this guy. Still your president. Oh my God. This is an adult? Are you honestly an adult? Do you honestly feel proud or even good at typing something like that? Oh, Fisher, you're a real genius. You are the reason we voted for him. Okay, so you're trying to convince me that I am the reason that you voted for Dump. Do you even hear how absurd that sounds? Oh my God. You MAGA hat propaganda parrots are just completely incapable of formulating an intelligent thought. Jessica, thank you for the heart me. Oh, Danny, thank you for knocking out the live goal. I guess I got to do another one. Let's do together. What's the song? Let's put it all together. That's what it is. Let's get it all together. How about roses? Or did I already do roses? Let's do chili peppers. Chili, chili, ow, chili, chili. Chili, 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 won't you come home with me? Chili, chili. I don't know what the hell that song means. But yeah, I finally decided on the backdrop. Look at that. Flipping tables. Isn't that spectacular? It only took me 7 months to finally put a backdrop up. All right. So let me bring a couple people up. Danny, as always, I'll start with you. And anybody else that wants to come up, either you will see request boxes on the side of the screen, or you will see next to the comment box a silhouette of a red person, a silhouette of a blue person overlapping. So press either one of those if you want to come up. Danny, my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Yoddah?
I am excellent. I had I guess about a 2.5 hour, or actually close to 3 hour dinner with my best buddy, a guy I met in 2001, because the universe conspired to put us together. I was at a job, and they happened to sit this man right across from my cubicle. And naturally, since I'm a polite fella, I introduced myself. And 24 years later, he is uh, he is my best friend. But we became fast friends. I
Excellent.
mean, 3 months after I met him, I invited him to be an usher at my wedding. And actually, I'm being grandiose. He wasn't an usher at my wedding. He was the usher at my wedding. and he's just a great guy. 13 years younger than me, which is unusual. I don't normally hang out with people that much younger than me, but he's a different kind of person. But we had dinner, lots of laughs, lots of serious conversation about life and love and all that good stuff. But how was your day, Danny?
Well, I was just thinking about that. He's 13 years younger than you are, and here your new older brother is 15 years older than you. So here we
Yeah, it's
go.
actually not 15. It's like 14 and change, I think, right?
14. Yeah. Yeah, but still,
Yeah, yeah,
that's that's awesome.
yeah,
But you've covered the spectrum.
yeah, yeah. I mean, same as like when we were together this weekend. It was, you at 15, 14 plus years older than me about 22 years or so, 21 years older than Jordan. So that's cool. You know,
Yeah,
it's all good
we
stuff.
had it covered. But yeah, that was a great weekend, and
Yeah,
like you, I'm still my heart is full,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it even got forward last night with that wonderful tribute you gave to me last night that brought me to tears a few times, and I watched it again today, and yeah, and I really heard my voice sounding. I sound very old. That's the
yeah,
way it is.
yeah. That is the way it
I am
is. But
old, so
I,
I can't get away from that.
I haven't listened to. I haven't listened to it yet. I will listen to it probably in the next couple of days. I'm still kind of letting everything settle,
Right?
and I'll get back to it soon. But so tonight, I finally put a little backdrop, flipping tables. Look at that.
Yes,
And
I like it.
for most people, I'm sure they know that is a reference to the Bible. And for me, the Bible is a work of literature, um, very badly written in most places, but that doesn't mean that it's entirely useless. There are
Right.
lessons, there are metaphors, there are stories that I found moving, like Sermon on the Mount. I particularly found that moving when I first bought the Bible at 23 years old and I read Sermon on the Mount. I was very moved by that. So I want to read the part uh, that flipping tables is referring to. It's very short. It's Matthew 21, sections 12 and 13. Section 12 goes, "And Jesus went into the temple of God, and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers, and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves." And so I see that as a fitting metaphor for what's happening now in America. They've turned this ideal of America, and I want to stress that it's an ideal in my opinion. It's never been realized. But there's been this consistent propaganda of what the ideal of America is. And I believe that uh, the metaphor of den of thieves is really appropriate to what America is now. And of course, that phrase alone doesn't explain the extent of the damage that this den of thieves is doing. But I think that's an appropriate metaphor. And yes, Surf Montana. I bought my first Bible at 23. And I am an atheist now too. Actually, I think I've been an atheist since about 10 years old. So, Danny, does that make sense? Does that seem to fit what's going on now?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm also a fallen Catholic there, Surf, Montana.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, every day I keep reading about, because, while they're doing these wild, big things that get our attention and get discussed on, on social media and all that stuff, they're also doing a bunch of small things too, and some of them are very, very damaging. Like this quest to erase minority history is just egregious, and I don't know why this is necessary. Just today, I heard that Dump is trying to kind of create some kind of committee or some department or something that is reviewing educational materials because he's mad at how schools teach history because history makes YT look like a bad race of people.
That's because he's trying to erase history. He doesn't want slavery taught in school. He doesn't want the movement that was going on, that went through in the '60s uh, with the African American or Black Americans getting their rights to vote and that stuff. He doesn't want none of that written or anything that I would not be surprised he tries to write out Vietnam because being the coward that he was, he didn't even want to, excuse me, serve in the military because he is a coward. Yeah, but draft 5-time draft dodger. So
Yeah, so he's trying to retroactively go back over history. So what? I guess YT people are the heroes of the story or something. I don't know what that's going to accomplish. Maybe in
I
the
don't know how you
future,
erase it.
whenever it is, after everyone passes away that knows the truth, whether it's in the next 150, 200 years, whatever it is, and maybe nobody will be around to know what really happened. But I mean, is that really going to change anything? If this type of government stays in power, what's written in the history books are going to be the least of your worries, you know? And the fact that he's so obsessed with this is just another indication of his weak mind and weak character.
Well, I won't be surprised that he replaces the. Matter of fact, either he's going to replace or have replaced the Smithsonian director, which is again sad. I mean, I hate to say it, it's sad, and I can't believe that we, the people, are tolerating this to keep going on. But they're
I'm not sure
they're
we
they're
are.
they're having all these protests in D.C. right now, but I
Right.
don't see a lot of progress from them yet.
Well, I think, as I've been saying, my firm belief is that this is going to be a very long haul. That this is going to be very similar to what it was When MLK did the bus boycott, we know that that was just over a year of daily sustained effort. And I think that Americans have become accustomed to instant results. Now you don't have to wait a week to watch your favorite show. You can just download it whenever you want, and we can get food delivered. Everything is instant, and I'm not criticizing it. It is what it is. That's great that technology has gotten to the point where we have some conveniences, but it also, I think, kind of makes us um, ill-equipped for the important task of fighting a corrupt government. And Surf Montana wants to know where we're located. He wants to know where I'm located, where you're located, Danny. So I'm in the Northeast. Danny, do you want to let Surf Montana know where you are?
I'll be glad to. I'm in Washington State. I'm in the state capital of Olympia.
Okay. I hope that's useful information. um. So
I
yeah.
don't
So
hide because I have
yeah. No,
nothing to
I
hide.
got you. I got you. And uh, you know, so yeah. Back to what we were saying. I think that the very important thing for people to understand is that there is no instant gratification coming to us. There's going to be little things that we do here and there that feel good, like anytime someone gets a zinger off, like what Gavin Newsom is doing, anytime the court throws out something Donnie Dump is doing, all those things feel good, and there's nothing wrong with those things feeling good. But we have to understand that the big picture is so much more complicated than all of those things. We're going to need to hunker down and make this a lifestyle where every day we are working on flipping the tables so that we can let the money changers know that we are unhappy. And without that, I don't think we have a shot. I really don't, and I think it's building. I can't tell for sure. My sense, and of course this is my imagination at work, is that there's momentum building. I just don't know how quickly. I don't know how much it's building, but I hope that it continues to build. I hope that more and more and more people, because again, we need at least 12 million to reach that 3.5% threshold. And I just hope that we get there sooner rather than later and that we wind up seeing results. See who else is hanging about. Vicky, I'll invite you up because I haven't spoken to you in a while. So no pressure, but if you'd like to come up, that'd be wonderful. Oh, looks like Vicky took the invitation. How are you, Vicky? Vicky?
I'm doing okay.
Excellent, excellent.
Asthma's kicking my butt a little bit tonight, so if I cough
Oh,
a little bit, I apologize. I try to
oh,
mute whenever I
no,
do.
no worries, no worries. I hope you feel better. Thank you for being willing to come up in the face of asthma. That must suck. My brother had asthma, and when he was an adult, he was working down on Wall Street. God, this must have been around 94, 95, somewhere around there. And he he was heading home from work. He got down to the street, had a coughing fit so bad that he fell down and broke his jaw. Because he coughed, he passed out, and then fell on his face and broke his
Oh my
jaw.
gosh.
Yeah, his jaw was wired shut for a while, like a month or month and a half, something like that. And he had to eat through a straw. Lost a ton of weight, and as soon as they opened his mouth up again, he gained it right back.
Well,
So
I'm
Oh
not
I,
ashamed
no.
of
I I know how serious asthma can be.
I have passed out for a wholly entirely different reason in my lifetime.
Yes, yes. Well, that's because you were tipping your
Those
elbow a
were the
bunch of
days.
times, right?
I've done that too.
12-ounce curls. Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
I don't think I ever passed out entirely, but I did black out for an hour and a half once in my teens. I think I was like 17 or 18, and just lost about an hour and a half of my life to imbibing. And another time, not quite passed out, but I remember I was at a party. This was definitely senior year, so I was 18. I'm at a party at this girl's house, one of the friend group that we hung around with. And I remember, I was mixing my own 7 and 7. And, I remember as I kept mixing, it was like, Seagram, 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 then gloop, a little tiny bit of 7 Up. And, so I was pouring in a very heavy handed way. And at some point in the evening, I'm not exactly sure how long this took, probably not too long, I just decided that I had to lay down on the rug. And I remember my friends were calling to me asking if I was okay. And I know that in my mind, I was saying something like, "Oh, I am perfectly fine. I'm perfectly comfortable. Don't worry about me. Thank you so much for being so concerned and checking in on my well being." But I think what I actually said was, "Ha!"
Oh my God. Oh my God, my God, my God.
And then eventually I got up, but I just had to lay down. I got so hammered that I just had to lay down right in the middle of the party in the living room on the carpet.
Well, I
At
was
least it
into
was the carpet.
7 before you were
Yes.
born, but it was 77 Sunset Strip, the TV show I used to watch before you were born.
Hmm.
So, but that was a good show. I didn't mean to distract from your 77 experience. But
Well, this was
Oh
1982.
man, when I was in college, that's probably about that same time frame for me. I was in college though, and we'd gone to this banquet, and we decided since we had to go to this banquet, there's a bunch of us RAs, and so we went to this club down on the at the highway, and they had like dollar, or you women could get in for $1, and it was like you just all the drinks were free. This was way back when, and I was drinking rum and pineapple juice because I just was a pennyweight and didn't like a lot of drinks. I drank so many of those that by the time I made it to the banquet, I didn't. I was in the bathroom face down. I had tile indentions on my forehead from laying on the tile in the bathroom for
Yeah.
so long.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the porcelain god and I were very good friends for a while, and I was better and I was fine.
Yeah, that's the
That
wild thing
was
about
probably one of my
bathroom
finer
tile is
moments
it's
in
so
college.
cool that it feels good to lay down on, even though of course it's disgusting.
Oh, I know. I can't believe I did that, so God only knows how many germs were on it. But of course, fortunately, all the students were gone by then, so maybe they had cleaned it thoroughly before we got there, but who knows? Oh, it was, yeah, the things that I survived in my youth are just amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of times that I look at my life and like I'm amazed that I made it out of my youth. I remember when I was 7 years old, we moved to Elmhurst, Queens, and I got a bicycle. And you know, poor children find creative ways to have fun, and
you'll make it.
we used to play tag on bicycles. We also used to play like cops and robbers and stuff like that, but all on bicycles. So I can't tell you how many times I crashed, I flipped over. One time I remember vividly, this is when I got a 10 speed. I remember going down this steep hill that was a round block from me and not braking enough to make the turn and wound up slamming into the back of a parked car and sliding up the trunk to the windshield. Luckily I didn't break anything on the car or myself, but that was pretty wild. And and one time in that same apartment when I was 8, right on the corner, they were building a new building. I don't remember what it was. I don't know. I don't think it was a house, but they were laying out the foundation was there, and they barely had any floors. It was mostly planks. And I climbed to the 3rd floor of that and was hanging off a steel beam and almost couldn't get back up. And somehow I survived that. So, yeah, the fact that I made it out of my childhood is pretty amazing. Cynthia, you missed the flipping tables part. We talked about that. And folks, let me just take a quick break. There's 15 of us in here. We've been on 40 minutes. We're way behind path. We're way behind our normal pace, but that's okay. I haven't been reminding you to tap. If you haven't done so already, go for the Daily Heart Me. And McBobber says, God has our plans. What does that mean? As a matter of fact, I have a feeling that'll be too
Barbara's
complicated
cool, so
to
maybe
type out. So, um, McBobber, I've invited you up if you want to
they're a friend of
come up.
mine, so I think they're
Excellent.
probably pretty cool.
That's fine. I know that it would be much easier to say it than to type it all out, so that's why I'm inviting McBobber up. And it looks like McBobber is loading. How you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing good. How about you?
I am doing well. So, can you explain what that comment meant, that God has our plans?
It's just my opinion. I'm a firm believer that, that God, we survive things that you just can't understand how you actually survived it.
Mm-hmm.
And just, uh, just in my opinion, Him looking out for you.
Mm. So the 22,000 children that will perish today from hunger, he's not looking out for them though, huh?
I really don't know the answer to that, to be honest.
Mm.
It makes you scratch your head. It really does.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you got a great point. Why not them if us that got saved? But I can't answer that. I really can't.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
was a
that's where I
rhetorical
kind of
question,
drew
but
the
go ahead.
line, McBobber.
Go ahead, Vicky. What was that?
Yeah, whenever years ago, a newborn that I knew the couple, and they actually named one of their twins Vicky, and Vicky developed a glioblastoma and passed away, and that was a turning point for me because I know they say there's always a reason, but I can't justify a reason for the suffering of children, especially with all these children in Gaza
Mm-hmm.
and even the suffering of children here in the United States, because they're going to bed hungry because their families can't feed them because they can't afford to. It's hard. And so I know that we didn't really want to get into this whole religious,
That's fine with me.
thing, even though, we're talking about flipping tables.
No, I don't care where the conversation goes.
But
That's fine with me.
Well, and I'm not extremely religious myself, but I just I was raised, let's put it that way, to believe that there is a reason why we're here, and I can't answer why the kids aren't here or why my niece died at 8 years old of cancer of the brain. But that's been my belief. That's all. And
yeah,
there's certain times where there's no way I should have made it on this earth, and I'm here, and I can't explain that either.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example
I think there
of that
is.
kind of thinking. I remember my a woman that I know. I won't mention who it is, but she's actually the mother of a woman that I know. Explained that one time they were driving on an icy road, which was basically next to a mountain, and how the car spun out with her and her 4 daughters in the car, and how it headed toward the side of the mountain, and had they gone over, it would have been their certain demise. And then she said all of that to say that it must have been God that saved her, and then asked me what did I think it was, and I said physics. That's what saved you, physics. Because in your story, what you're trying to tell me essentially is that you are all so amazing that God chose to save you. And since,
That's far from it.
well, that's what the story implies. Whether they
Yeah.
intend to imply it or not, that's part of the implication of that story. Because if God is not saving the 22,000 children that will pass tonight because of starvation, but they saved her and her 4 daughters, then they must be really special. The
I
Nutty
see where
Broad, what do you think?
I see where you're
That
coming
nutty,
from.
that nutty broad. Hello, are you there? She might have come up accidentally. That nutty broad, are you there? Going once, going twice. Okay, she came up accidentally. So I'm sorry. You were saying?
Yeah, I kind of.
McBobber was saying something. What were you saying?
No, I was saying I see where you're coming from.
It's possible you do.
I do. Yeah,
Uh,
I do. Um,
so where do you think I'm coming from?
I don't know, but God, I don't. You kind of spun a new perspective on things for me.
Yeah, I have a
Um,
habit of ruining stories, but
that,
um,
no, that's okay.
what new perspective did I give you?
Well, as soon as you said what makes me, for lack of better words, better than the 22,000 that are going to die, or 2,200.
Unalive.
Um,
We have to use TikTok friendly language. Sorry about that. So 22,000
oh,
unalive. Go ahead.
unalive. Okay, thank you. um, yeah, just send a chill on me when you said that,
Yeah. I mean,
because
what
I
these?
personally, I do.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just an average person. I'm not someone that, like you said, is worth saving over that many lives. So it kind of gave me a different look on things when you put it that way.
I got you.
And I've never had
That
it
nutty
put that
broad.
way, to be honest.
Can we hear you now? That nutty broad. Hello. Wow. Still can't hear her. I guess there's something going on with her microphone. Sorry about that, but I'm going to drop you down again. Come back up if you get that sorted out. But I'm sorry, McBobber, you started saying something else.
No, I had finished, I thought.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I want to make something very clear. I have no issue with anyone's belief as long as that belief doesn't involve harming anybody. Feel free to believe
Right.
whatever you want. If you want to believe, like I do, that my pet unicorn runs everything, I can believe that, right? If you want to believe that there's a flying spaghetti monster out there or a giant teacup that swirls around the universe, whatever it is, at the end of the day, belief is just another word for imagination. And we all have to cope with mortality. We all have to cope with the persistent rumor that one day everything ends. And so whatever belief you need to wrap your arms around that somehow so that you're comfortable in the world, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. The institutions, on the other hand, is where my issue lies.
Right.
Because they want you to believe nonsense without questioning it. They want you to bow down. They don't want you to be curious. They don't want you to be logical. Their default answer is just have faith. When all else fails, just have faith. And the Nutty Broad made an interesting comment earlier when I brought up the 22,000 children. She said maybe they didn't pray hard enough. And that's an appropriate thing to say when people say something like, oh, he works in mysterious ways. Well, I don't think that drowning everyone on Earth except a family of 8 in the story of Noah's Ark is mysterious. I think that's genocidal. Really, because literally the whole world. And when you look at statistics for population, you can reverse engineer. Hey, Penelope, good to see you. You can reverse engineer the population and go back in time to calculate how many people were on the planet. And when I did that, when I looked at the time that these stories supposedly took place, Noah's Ark and the rest of them, on Earth, there were roughly somewhere from 100 million to 400 million people. And for the sake of this argument, I'll be conservative and say that there were 100 million people, and I'll go crazy and eliminate 90% of them and say that there were 10 million people on Earth. Okay, so now we've gone from a high estimate of 400 million to a pared down conservative estimate of 10 million people. So I think I'm being fair. I think I'm being generous. Okay, so what you're telling me, you want me to believe that the big man was upset with his creation, and out of 10 million people wiped out all of them except a family of 8. And I'm supposed to look at that as an example of his love. Are you fucking kidding me?
I get it.
So again, whatever you believe, whatever gets you through the night, like John Lennon sang, is all right. I don't care. I don't care what you need to believe in to feel comfortable in your own skin, to deal with the reality or the persistent rumor anyway of your mortality. I don't care. I honestly don't. That's why there's over 5,000 religions, is because people came up with so many different stories to try to figure this out. Because, at the end of the day, from what I can tell, at 61 years old, having been raised Catholic and looking at the world's religions, including a lot of Eastern religions, nobody knows how we got here. Nobody knows why we're here. And nobody knows what we're supposed to be doing while we're here. And nobody knows where we're going later. And what troubles me is the people that pretend that they do. Because after they finish telling you their story about why we're here and all that other good shit, then they ask you for money.
Yeah. Woo.
And then, especially if we're talking about the biggest church out there, the Catholic Church, they take that money to hire lawyers to defend adults who harm children.
Yep.
That's why you won't catch me putting $1 in the basket. I mean, I'm almost never in church anyway. The only time I'm there is if someone's getting married or someone is having a christening. Otherwise, I'm not going into church for any reason. But while I'm there, I'm sorry, I'm not helping the defense fund for PDF files. That's me. That's my sensibility.
Yep, that's me too. That's why I don't go to the church. And that's happened over the last 10 years for similar reasons you just said. And the fact that they're building these big, beautiful churches when the old church was just fine. That's another issue I had. But
And then when there's a disaster in the area, these mega churches are like, no souls saved after 5 p.m. Sorry,
right,
we can't help you.
no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And I'm the son of a man who was a hugely popular pastor. He was in the oh my God, what was this church? Man, the name just escaped me. But he was a minister in a church in the Dominican Republic and enormously popular. But that didn't sway me because I have eyes and ears, and I was looking around and seeing and hearing a lot of bullshit. And luckily, it just never stuck.
Well, it's funny you say that. I have a friend that lost his wife to cancer,
Mm-hmm.
who was Catholic. But now he doesn't believe because he wants to know why, and nobody can answer why her.
Yeah, they just give lip service and bullshit, trite answers. By the way, it was the Unity Church. I just remembered. Well, my father was a minister in the Unity Church. It's kind of a non-denominational church, but you know, they're not as egregious as Catholic churches because they're not about sin and guilt and all that nonsense. But you know, it's still goofy.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
there are no answers. I mean, when I was 10 years old, I was thrown out of Sunday school because I asked questions. I didn't disrupt anything. I didn't pick fights. I didn't do anything. I just asked questions, and they got tired of not having answers. So instead of getting smarter and figuring out how to explain this nonsense to a 10-year-old, they asked me not to come back. Well, they asked my
wow.
mother not to bring me back. So, you know, that's when I finally was like, yeah, you know what? I've had enough of this. It started when I was 7. When I was 7, I started noticing things, and then by the time I was 10, I was just like, this is all horse shit. And then as I got older and really started digging into it, because, you know, I was having these discussions with people, especially as a teenager. I was talking about religion a lot with people, and it never made sense to me. And then when I was 23, I bought my first Bible because once in a while, when I would get into a conversation with people, they would reference scripture and quotes and all these things, and I didn't know how to reply. So I was like, you know,
Right.
I better learn the source material if I'm going to keep having these debates. And then once I got through the Bible, I was like, yeah, no, this is complete nonsense. And again, there are moments, there are little tiny specks here and there that are useful things about, you know, what Jesus said about taking care of immigrants and how to treat strangers and how to treat people that are less fortunate than you. I find
Yes, sir.
those parts very useful. But then, you know, don't eat shellfish or you're condemned, you know, like that's just dumb shit, you
Right.
know? So, you
Right.
know, you got to pick and choose. And again, whatever people want to believe is fine, but don't come to me with it and expect that I have to believe as you do. Because that's, you know, I don't mind anyone wanting to share something that they think is good. You know, if you're a zealot, or if you're a proselytizer, like the way Jehovah's Witnesses are, they literally proselytize. They go around door to door knocking and talking to people about it. I don't mind that, because the spirit of that is you have something that you feel is good in your heart, and you're sharing it with someone else. All right?
Right.
No problem. I have no problem with that. But then when you start getting into the nitty gritty and I start asking questions, you're going to find out that your source material does not stand up to scrutiny.
Yeah, I'm getting that feeling. And
Yeah.
that's okay, actually.
Yeah. Better late than
I
never.
well, you are absolutely right. And maybe that's what my buddy's going through, and I struggle with that because I feel for him too. Why her? Why my niece?
Yeah.
Why those children that are going to starve because we got somebody that's not nice as a president?
Yeah, I mean, there's children in the Middle East right now, and then I'm going to say hello to our new guest in a moment. But there's children in the Middle East right now that are in a hot desert trying to get food because they're starving,
And we cut it
and
off.
there are soldiers that think it's fun to hurl projectiles out of them out of weapons while they do that.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to pretend who the good guys are here, you know? I mean, at a
Right.
certain point, this just becomes ridiculous. Island Boy Pundit, how you doing, brother?
Oh man, good night. Good night, y'all. Good night, folks.
And sorry to
Um,
take you where we did.
No need to
no,
apologize to me, man. I go where the conversation leads. I only pick a topic just to start things off, but this is how my lives normally go, so don't worry about it.
it's all good because um the religious topic, I had it out with my again via text, my professional buddy. He's a friend, but was former friend because I kind of cut him off because his vote for black guy. He talks about his religion being highly religious and how religion is so important for him. I say, if religion is so important to you, how the hell could you support somebody like Trump? Trump is the antithesis of everything that the Bible purports to be about. You know what I'm saying? He's the antithesis of everything. He's antithetical to everything in there. I mean, he's not a moral person. He's
No.
immoral. He's vindictive. He's petty, and he's inflicting something like my friend Chameleon says, he's inflicting it like narcissistic damage on the country because he just cannot imagine that people didn't just love him, and he's
Yeah.
inflicting an unimaginable amount of cruelty on the country and destruction on the country, and he just doesn't give a shit. And it's like you cannot be somebody that's supposed to be religious and support a man like that.
Good girl.
Somebody like Trump should have always been a non-starter for you. He should have never gotten your vote. Like never. And that's one of the big reasons I have a problem with organized religion. That's one of the big reasons I have a problem with it. And like you, Yoda, listening to you, I read the Bible cover to cover too. You know, had my time in my late teens where I read the Bible cover to cover. At the same time, I was going through like learning about my real history, and I realized the Bible was a bunch of bullshit too. It was crowd control. I realized even from since then, it was fucking crowd control.
Yeah.
It was never about what they said. And the whole premise, we're supposed to believe that mortals, other people like us, were just inspired by some divine being to write these words in the book, and we're supposed to just take that as gospel. That's the big leap we're supposed to assume. We're supposed to be like, well, these people were inspired by God to write these books in the Bible, and so we should honor those, we should defer to them. I'm like, um, bro, how the hell do you know they're divine, they're inspired by God? How do you know that God actually inspired them? Where's your fucking proof?
These people didn't know what bacteria was. And you're going to tell me they knew the keys to the universe? You know? And the only thing that I would change in your description of Dump is one word. I don't think he's immoral because I don't have a problem with immoral people because I'm one of them. Immoral just means that you don't adhere to the morality of the day. He is amoral, meaning he has no morality in him whatsoever.
I think that's correct. I agree. Amoral. He has nothing. He
Nothing.
has no empathy. He
Nope.
has no empathy. He doesn't. He'll see a child starve or unalive, and if that child's parents happen to say something bad about him, he doesn't give a shit. It's like fine. They
Look at what
can
he said
go.
to those
They can
Gold
go
Star
bye bye.
parents. Like while he was campaigning in 2016, he
Hmm.
criticized Gold Star parents. Like, you know, that's when I was thinking, oh my God, this guy's sinking his own ship. I didn't realize
It didn't
the
work.
the growing cult that was happening under our nose. But yeah, I mean, the guy, when you look at the descriptions in the DSM-5, which is the diagnostics manual that healthcare professionals use, um,
Hmm.
especially psychologists and psychiatrists, counselors, those types of people. When you read the characteristics of a sociopath, um, he checks every box, especially if you read narcissistic personality disorder. Like
Hmm.
there are 9 criteria, and in order to be even considered as a possible narcissist, you have to check 5 of those criteria. Dump checks all 9. It's wild.
And
It's wild.
and 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 the thing that really bothers me is where the main is why is how mainstream media bends over backwards to excuse the fact that he keeps using phrases straight out of the schmatzy literature, the Smachi playbook.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps using phrases out of the whitey supremacy playbook, the whitey supremacy 4chan website. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all the whitey supremacy wet dreams, all the whitey supremacy final solution type stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why the hell did they send a proposal to Congress, which we need to keep an eye on, by the way, called the Office of Remigration? Why would you why would you term it that? Why would Stephen Miller get online after they sent that proposal, right? And troll and said, this is the way Trump saves small town America. Why? Yeah, I'm serious. He said that shit. If I
I'm
didn't
sure he
see the
did.
screen grab of it, I wouldn't have believed it. And I'm like, I heard about remigration decades ago in the early 1990s, when these whitey supremacist websites were less secure, where you could just log on and pretend to be one of them, and that they would actually correspond with you, right? You come up with it was easier to fake who you were online. And I remember seeing that, and what I learned about that term remigration frightened the fuck out of me because it was basically they didn't give a shit if don't they didn't give a shit, like, even if you were born here, once you weren't whitey, you had to go. They would politely ask you to go, and if you insisted on not going, they would either unalive you or forcibly remove you. You know what I'm saying? Or forcibly deport you, even if you were born here. That is why I find the fact that they keep using all these terms, the blood of our country, the soil and things like that. All of these catchwords, they keep using these things. And people just make, oh no, that's just the way he talks. He doesn't mean anything by it. Oh, he's just awkward the way he talks. They're always making excuses for that shit. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You keep using 9.9 out of 10 whitey supremacy slogans, phrases, references to like dreams of whitey supremacists for the world. You keep using those phrases, your policy proposals, right? Then I'm sorry, you are whitey supremacist. You're a flagrant one. And you know what? Stop pissing on me and telling me it's apple juice.
Yeah.
You know?
FM said, it sounds like a question. How about biblical scholars who argue the books aren't inspiration but historical accounts of events? Well, they don't sound particularly scholarly to me if that's their conclusion. Um, because here's the thing, historians existed at the time that Christ allegedly lived, and none of
Scribes.
those historians wrote about him. There's this dude that's in trouble with the law, in trouble with Romans, uh, pissing off the Hebrews, all this stuff that he's doing, raising people from the afterlife, bringing them back, blah, 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 all that stuff. And you're telling me that none of the contemporary historians wrote about it? And if you bring Josephus into the conversation, it's laughable. He was born after the alleged time of Christ and didn't write about him until 94 AD. So again, the operative word is contemporary. I would like to
Mm-hmm.
know which of the contemporary, and I've asked this question 1,000 times and I've never gotten an answer, which contemporary historians of the time of Christ, which is roughly 30 AD, 33 AD, around there, wrote about him? And the answer is none.
That's really interesting because even like, they love to poo-poo Yoda um African writings, and African writings go back thousands of years. They love to poo-poo indigenous writings, which go back thousands of years. All these people are savages. Meanwhile, as you said, there are contemporary writings of different kings or different rulers in Africa and all these other indigenous, darker toned indigenous places around the globe. There are contemporary writings spanning thousands of years, you know, documenting not just events, but documenting science, documenting like medical breakthroughs, documenting what happened, like migrations of animals, documenting types of animals. And in addition to the writings, there were actually drawings, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, due to craven, insistent whitey supremacy, when Europeans came to ascendancy, they destroyed a lot of that shit deliberately. So
Sure.
they dynamited whole like pyramids. We had pyramids in the in North America, just like what they had in Central and South America that people go to for these tourist trips. But of course, the Americans up here, they dynamited them. Oh, it's on my land, and they dynamited it. They didn't care to preserve any of the knowledge that were in there.
Oh,
You know,
the burning of the Library of Alexandria is another good example.
that's just one example, man.
One of many,
Right.
yeah. I mean,
What about?
a lot of pharaohs tried to wipe out the records of the pharaohs before them. So yeah, getting history. This is a phrase that's attributed to Dan Brown, but actually Winston Churchill said it, which is history is written by the winners, and that's a very significant aspect of human history, is that you're only getting one perspective, and of course there are many perspectives, and I just believe in like proof and facts. And, if you're going to make a great claim, like the existence of God, you have every right to make that, but understand that it's a huge claim you're making and you're not offering substantiating evidence for it. You talk about the existence of Christ, you're not offering substantiating evidence for it. And I have no horse in this race. If you prove tomorrow that Christ was real, I'd say, well done. Doesn't change anything, but okay, at least we know he was a real dude. but you don't have that. And every time people bring up a historian, it's like there was one historian someone brought up recently. I was listening to somebody else's live who like dedicates his whole show to like debunking the Bible. But one guy, it was after Josephus, and this guy was born like I think 60 or 70 years after the time of Christ. It's like, don't you understand what contemporary means? Like, we're looking for contemporary records, not people that heard stories for 50 years and then decided to write about them. It's just nutty.
Yeah, but you know, those are the people that believe that crap. Those are the people who are in charge. And those of us who supposedly know better, we're unreliable as hell when it comes to voting. We don't participate very well when it comes to our democracy. A lot of us stay home. We quibble. We say, "Oh, I don't like this person. Let me stay. Let me vote third party. I don't like this person. Oh, look at those MAGAs. Yeah, but those MAGAs show up to vote every single election without fail.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
it's everybody's right to vote or not to vote and who they're going to vote for. I have no problem with people choosing not to vote because our system is completely broken and your votes aren't counted. And so, for those folks who don't vote, I can't blame them and I won't criticize them. Okay, so
I'll say
FM,
one thing.
you've still got nothing but bad information. FM says historical accounts were written within a few decades to about a century after his death. Yeah, that's not
FM, give it up.
contemporary. Okay?
Give it up, FM.
Just when something happens now, and this has been true for a long, long time, hundreds of years, when things are going on, there are people alive that record those things as they're happening or right after they happen. That is not true of Christ. Not even close.
You know what's funny what you say about that, right? I think with the time we're in, Yoda, with the proliferation of the internet, you could literally go back to people's blogs from years ago, decades ago, online, and you could read their blog entries, their blog posts. And when you read through the blog post, you get a sense of time capsule snapshot of exactly what the hell was happening right there at the time when they wrote the blog, the references they made. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
The current references they made at the time. I mean, that's what we mean. That's a contemporary description of people and events that were happening back then. Those things have always existed in history. The problem is the Bible is severely lacking in those contemporary descriptions of what was going on. They are
Well,
not dated.
let's talk about how the Bible was put together. Okay?
Oh man.
Because
Huh.
first of all, what's the most popular Bible out there? The King James Version. Okay. Let's set aside for a
The
moment.
name by itself.
Right. But let's set aside for a moment that King James was a gigantic asshole by all accounts. Okay? Anybody that wrote about that time, that all the information that we have about King James is that he was a gigantic asshole. But
Little Dionysian too.
beyond that, how about that it's a king's commissioned work? And how about this? It didn't start until a long time after the fact of these events. Also, between the oldest known Bible, which is the Sinai Bible, the Sinai text, some people call it, between that text and the King James Version, there are over 13,000 differences. So nobody is suspicious about a king putting together this work. Nobody is suspicious that it was put together at the Council of Nicaea over a 26-year period of people trying to get control of a region. That doesn't register with anybody as suspicious? You got to be fucking kidding me.
No, but it's their God, man. I mean, and that's the thing, my friend. Like, he's so like, and then when I talked to him about what's happening in over there in Gaza, you know,
Hmm.
he's just developing. Oh no, no, the Israelis are the chosen people. I say, you're a black man. What is wrong with you, bro? Are you what? Are you mental?
Well, I will say this, now that you brought up the race thing, for me, for minorities to be into Catholicism is absolutely absurd to me because that religion was literally beaten into us. So
Yeah,
I'm not going to fault you for choosing a religion because you're free to do that. But why that one? Why the one that was beaten into our ancestors? That just seems ridiculous.
I don't know, man. It's I don't get it, and it's like, and when I was in college, the other two. I used to take delight in fucking with the Bible club in college. You know, they had those clubs that go in
Yeah.
college and they go on campus trying to proselytize and say, "Oh, DK, you know, can we can can we oh Jason, come over. Can we study the Bible during your lunch break? Can we study the Bible during your lunch break? You know, come, let's hang out. Let's hang out after college. You know, let's go to Starbucks. Let's have a drink and let's study the Bible." I'm just like, you corny motherfuckers. You know, you corny motherfuckers, so for real. Seriously? You know? And I'm just like, okay, let's do this. So they come there and I say, okay, and I ask them certain questions with gaping flaws in the Bible. And I'd watch them with glee get flustered because they keep coming to me with their arguments. I keep poking holes in it. I say, I've read the Bible cover to cover like you do, you guys have. Okay? The only thing though, I critically think, and I don't swallow what is told there, in that book wholesale. I don't just swallow what I'm being told. I always like go back and check and always question things. And if there's new information that comes out, I go back and revise what I think or what I believe. Y'all are stuck with this rigid like belief that shall not be changed. And sometimes what you guys believe is paradoxical as hell. One part of the Bible says one thing, and the other part of the Bible counteracts
Oh,
what
don't
the
get me
early part
started on how many
said.
contradictions there
And I'm
are.
just like,
It's,
I'm just
it's
like,
crazy.
I'm like for instance, they will say, right, like those folks that don't want medical intervention, they want to pray about they want to pray on not the Lord, he heal their child that's terminally ill. They pray the Lord will heal their child that's terminally ill. They will not let modern medicine um help their child, right? But the same thing, you ask those same people, you say, where did man get his knowledge of medicine and technology and science from? They will tell you without a beat, oh, that came from God. Okay, so if that came from God, why the fuck won't you avail yourself of that to save your fucking kid?
Oh, I have a story that's along those lines. But before I get to it, FM says non-Christian sources also mention Jesus within 60 to 80 years of his life. Yeah, they also used to cut people's heads open to let the bad humors out. Like, what is your point? They also mentioned unicorns. Does that mean they're real too? Like, yeah, and here and look, and I already talked
Give it
about
up, man.
Josephus. Josephus, Jewish historian Josephus, 93, 94, and Roman writers. Again, 94 AD is not contemporary. Why are you still referring to people that I know you found these all on Wikipedia because I found all these names too. Tacitus and Pliny the Younger. I believe it was Pliny the Older that might have been the one, but either way, 116 to 112 BC. Really? You see that as contemporary? That's absurd. So the story you just told, Island Boy, is one that reminded me of this woman when I first got onto this one dating site. I had just turned 50, so I tried this. I think it was called Our Time. I don't even know if it's still around. but um, she started her profile with "I am a woman of God." And so I knew immediately that I was going to bang her right away. And this is how I knew that. Um, it was something that a sales manager taught me in 1985. He said, imagine if every time, let me see, this will be easier to see. Every time someone touched you right there, you laughed uncontrollably, right? And, you're walking down the street, one person touches you, you laugh uncontrollably, you recover, you walk a few more feet, another person touches you there. How
Hmm.
long will it be before you just put your hand over that spot to protect yourself, right? So when she said, I am a woman of God, that was the equivalent. I knew that she was putting her hand over her weak spot to protect herself. And so I knew exactly how to get to her. I said to her, do you believe that God made you? She said, yes. I said, do you believe God is perfect? She said, yes. So do you believe his creation is perfect? She said, yes. I said, so why would he make your skin respond to touch and a couple of areas respond wildly to touch? Do you think that that was a mistake? You can't, because you just said he was perfect and his creation was perfect. So, and of
Gotta.
course she couldn't argue that, and it was wheels up in no time. Bang, 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 bang.
Oh my
Because it's goofy.
goodness.
It's. I mean, all these people that try to defend this nonsense all sound like FM to me. Coming up with these historians that were not contemporary and these dumb conclusions about, oh, they talked about him, so he must be real. I mean, they talked about centaurs too. So, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You know what I realized too? But then there's some realistic things about certain tribal battles that were happening around the time that certain books were written too. And they were not contemporary to Jesus Christ. They were after and before him. But then when you look about the time, there were certain battles
Hold on.
for land.
Let me just dismiss this other desperate attempt at twisting logical around. FM says very rare to find contemporary historical accounts of common people at that time, and yet you keep trying to offer me names of historical people. And by the way, according to everybody, Jesus was not common, was he? So why wouldn't there be accounts of uncommon people? You see the desperation in your logic coming through?
You know what's funny about that? It just popped in my head just now, right? It's like how the Trump administrations right now are just making these pronouncements about things. They say, oh, DC's full of crime, so we have to do this, right? They're actually putting on the veneer of authenticity, right? Because they have the veneer of authenticity to do things, or they just make certain assumptions, or they just assert certain things, right? And they move on it. Those books in the Bible are similar. They were written referencing a myth or a person of lore to as a means of crowd control to get certain people to go along with what the king or the chieftain or the ruler of the area wanted the public to go along with by
And they were old
referencing, oh yeah,
stories. The
yeah,
story
they're
of
old
Horus and Osiris is
stories.
1800 years older than the story of Christ, and it's the same fucking story.
Yeah. And this is the thing I'm saying. What Trump is doing is not new in terms of the tactic. It's in the Bible. The books that exist in the Bible, they're not contemporary, they're not quote unquote time stamped as so many other writings from indigenous and African and other peoples are. Because to use the phrase, a lot of writings, a lot of historical writings from indigenous peoples that we were talking about earlier are quote unquote kind of time stamped. You can go back and you can reference certain things that happen. They even write about um natural disasters that happen that now you
Hmm.
can go back and look at the events and say, oh yeah, this did happen. There was a lava flow. there was an eruption, there was this, there was
And
that, and
somehow,
they
no
and it's
mention of the
written
big
about it.
flood. Nobody else mentions the big flood except the Bible.
Yeah, exactly. They mention when meteors hit like little smaller meteors hit in certain parts like North America or in Russia. The people, the Inuit, wrote about it in their writings at the time. And then when you find the craters now, oh wait a second, the carbon dating puts it back around the time when the Inuit were writing about it. So it was fucking timestamp. But yet there's no timestamp about when Jesus Christ walked the earth or when God came down and did these miracles. There's no contemporary quote unquote timestamp.
Yes.
Surface
So
timestamp. Human
let
beings
me
tell right
interrupt for a
stories.
moment. We have a new guest,
Hmm.
Taco Cat. How you doing?
Very good. I like the conversation. I studied religion a little bit, and what I learned is there's hundreds of religions that actually tell the same story before Christ, the
Yeah,
same way, born
it's
of
an
a
extremely
virgin,
popular
resurrected
story.
after 3 days. And what it was really based on, you have to go back in those times, guys. You don't understand seasons, you don't understand anything. All you know is you know how to farm, you know how to hunt, and you see something bright and beautiful that brings warmth and truth to your crops every day coming from the heavens with its crown of thorns or sun rays over and over again, and you write about this. And then also when it turned nighttime, you had a map of these stars. And after years and years, they started to realize, wait, this is a map, and we can kind of talk about this. So Sirius is our brightest star in the sky. It's followed by the same three stars that we've called today the Three Kings. On December 25th, it locates the sun in the northern hemisphere. And if you were living in the northern hemisphere, if you were watching your land every week, every month, the sun would get smaller and smaller and smaller as
Yeah.
it gets to December. In your eyes, you would think the end of the world is coming. And on December 25th, the sun would go down for 3 days and stay there and then resurrect itself, bringing warmth and spring and everything
Exactly.
back to the world. So there
Yep.
was never a guy named Jesus written. All of the 12 disciples are the 12 constellations that travel about with the sun, and it's all astrological. That's the only thing they had to map out back then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
I should
the
get my wife
the
involved.
story of Vishnu is the same. There's so many stories that revolve around a birth from a virgin, healing the sick, resurrecting the people from the afterlife, an entourage, blah 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 blah. And
Christ doesn't say, yeah,
most of those stories are way older than the Catholic version. And even the Ten Commandments comes from I think it's the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
exactly. Yeah,
So
it's totally stolen, not stolen, but passed down.
it's Frankenstein. It's
Mhm.
and
People to
at that
people.
And
time it
then
wasn't
when
unusual for these oral traditions to be passed down. But the problem with religion is that they decided to codify this and teach it as though it was absolute truth.
I can't believe how far it stretches. I mean, you'll find Christianity in the darkest hole of the darkest country. You'll see
Yeah.
a
Well,
Christian Bible
that's all the
sitting
missions that
there.
went out.
That's
The
amazing to
missionaries went
me.
out. Well, I mean, how about Mormonism? And let me just say this. I think it's hilarious when any religious person makes fun of another religion. Because I always ask, have you read your fucking book? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's all goofy.
Yeah.
Like people that talk
Yeah.
about, oh, Scientology's ridiculous. Why so? Oh, this alien came down and, Xenu
Sounds
and blah,
like
blah, blah.
ours.
And I'm like, that doesn't sound
It's
like
the
Christ
same
to you?
story.
So your Jewish zombies
It's
okay,
no
but
angels.
everything else is weird?
Yeah, it's crazy. And we've used that to govern our entire world. Because of this, we're gonna take you out because of our God. Yeah. It's
That's the
crazy.
thing I hate. That's the thing that's really tragic, right? We've shed unimaginable amounts of blood in the name of these fictions, these myths, these rejiggered and retold stories.
Yep.
We've shed so much blood over it.
I
We
always
wiped
say,
out entire tribes of people,
yeah.
entire peoples over this mess. It's
People
really freaking tragic and awful, man.
people say Christianity is the biggest religion in the world. I said that's not a good thing. Religion
Yeah,
used to be a war. That just means that at some
yeah.
point we took over.
And
Yeah.
the Catholic Church sponsored the Inquisitions, the Crusades, and the witch hunts, which was a 900-year period of carnage. And someone just brought up Jesus walking on water. Hey, here's a trivia question that I believe
Oh
Taco will
God,
know.
I didn't see
really?
Who
that picture.
else? Who else walked on water in that story?
I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, James, I believe. He when Jesus was walking on water, James was walking right
Huh.
next to him. I think
Oh
James
my
got
God.
scared and sank, but Jesus kept walking. But so, like,
No.
why is it so special that Jesus was walking when someone else was doing it too?
Yeah. I mean, the book in itself is telling you a simplicity. You're a creator in my I made you in my eyes. I'm a creator. That means you're a creator. The end. I mean, just you're gonna
That's
think some
actually what I
stuff, it's gonna
concluded a long
come into
time ago.
fruition.
I said
Yeah.
creating us in his image must mean that we create also, and we do. We
Of
create
course, we
humans,
make
right?
Starbucks, we fly cars. I mean, everything we've thought of, we've made.
Right.
And that's just a simple of the Monopoly game we stand on here. Now, I will say this. Do I want religion, some sort of morality in our country? God, yes. Because when I go to church, I just cry my eyes out, man. I know it's a battle between good and evil, and regardless of who's there. There is a moral battle going on, I think, in all of us that we must recognize some creator is testing us.
Listen, I'll say this
Maybe.
much, right? I'll say this much, right? When I was researching religious texts back in the day, and I read everything. I read the Torah, I read the Bible, I read the Bhagavad Gita, even, and I read the Islamic, the
Quran.
the Quran.
Oh,
And one thing I found, right? Every last one of those have some of the same set of moral teachings in there, right? Same moral teachings, same so-called principles to live by. And when I studied martial arts, I studied like like Wudang styles of martial arts, like Tai Chi and Bagua and
capoeira.
stuff like Bagua, right?
Okay.
The Taoist principles are the same too, because it's kind of closely tied to Confucian religions. You know what I'm saying? Taoist texts, all right? So the same principles exist there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying to myself, like, it's like the principles are universal. And even
Right.
so-called atheists live by the same principles that live by the same principles that so-called religious people supposedly swear that they live by. So my thing is this, right? You know, what's the point of it? I'm saying, listen, if you need a religious framing to help you, I would say, digest morals and easily disseminate morals to your children to just or to for use for yourself, then fine, knock yourself out. I have a problem with when you get violent and you
Well,
become fascistic and you force it on other people to interpret it the way you interpret it.
right. And I like what you're saying. You're saying morals can be taught without religion. And I think that's so true.
Yeah,
I don't think we
they're
need
not connected.
correct.
They
But
Can you
religion
can
is
you
religion,
hear
one thing,
me?
morality is another. Yes, we
Yeah, we
can.
hear
How you
you.
Yes.
doing, the nutty broad?
Oh, thank goodness.
You got it
Yay.
worked out. So what's on your mind?
Yeah, I did. I did. Thank you. Sorry. Sorry to
No
interrupt. Go
worries.
ahead.
No worries.
Mhm.
What's on your
But
mind?
in a country, if we take that out, with our youth being the way it is, if there is no watcher, and what I mean is the reason all of these countries wrote these books throughout history, please don't steal my cows, please don't unalive my friends. They all wrote it because without it, you would naturally do it. If I didn't think that there was someone going to punish me, I'm going to pillage and
May
take
I?
what I
Yeah.
want.
May
Well,
I?
yeah.
May I? May I, Yoda?
Before you respond, I just want to say this: if religious teachings were so important, if the Bible was so significant to manage people's behavior, why did God wait almost 300,000 years to deliver it to humankind? But okay, go ahead, Nutty Broad. What would you like to say? Oh, suddenly I can't hear
Oh,
you. I can't hear you. Something happened and your sound went away.
Yeah, it's totally gone. It's
Oh,
totally
yeah,
gone.
you're gone. You're not here anymore.
oh
I'll
wow.
say this.
That's weird. Hold on one
All
second. Hold
yep.
on one second. Let me just see if she manages to come back. I hear thumping. I hear something like wrestling. Wow. Okay, something,
Come back and come
whatever
back
was
again. That
fixed, it
works.
sounds like it broke
Drop down
again.
and come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll drop you down, come back up again.
Mhm.
So go ahead, Taco Cat.
One thing all religions I've learned do: control men's minds and women's bodies. There's always some element to it that puts the man over a woman and has some kind of sexualized getting the better better benefits
Okay.
of the religion.
Well, sure.
Okay,
I mean,
before my
that's
mic stops
go
working,
ahead.
let me just throw some stuff in interjection in here because I
Sure.
see it's working. Okay. So one, we don't need a Bible or someone watching us, some omnipotent being watching you or judging you to have morality. Morality comes from humans and empathy and us as a society making laws and rules to abide by and respecting those laws and rules and having consequences for those. That is where morality comes from. It doesn't need to have some deity who hasn't shown up, because here's the thing. One, why didn't he write a perfect book that doesn't have everybody wondering why it's and questioning so much, so that we have 500 million different denominations of Christianity? Like, let's start there, right? Number two, why is it that the only way that this book has spread and lasted for so long is through violence and through colonization? And it gives permission, like you said, to men to control women and for power and conquering other nations, right? Like, that is literally what it's for. It is a book for men, and this book isn't even written for anybody but the Jewish people. Like, that's literally Jesus. His message was not for anybody but the Jewish people.
Right.
Right? Like, it literally wasn't. And by the way, all of those people who are out there attaching themselves to this thing and this are supposed to end up being in the new earth, because it's not heaven, it's the new earth.
Wow.
The slaves to the Jewish people. So, I mean, hey,
Yeah. My assumption, if I do think
right,
there's a
and I'm
God.
just, again, before my mic dies, let me just real quick. I'm so sorry. I'm such
No,
a
it's
babbler.
okay. Go ahead.
And another thing is, if we didn't have religion, telling people that not to worry about what's happening on this earth, that God has a plan, and to not lean not on their own understanding, we might have the situation and the ills of society fixed in this fucking place, instead of people worrying so much about the next fucking place that's probably not even there, from a God that used to apparently talk to people 2,000 years ago, but I don't know where the hell he's been since then, because where is he now? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
focus on this planet, this place. And
why did he
right?
need humans to write a book?
Right, if he's so damn powerful, why don't he just come
You
show up
created the
himself
universe,
and say,
but
"Here
you
I
can't
am,
create.
believe in
You
me"?
can't create, and you didn't give it to the Chinese, who were fully literate at the time. You gave it to illiterate sand dwellers that didn't know
Right.
what fucking bacteria was.
Right, or like those that island where those people are still to this day untouched by society, right? Like, because if you go near their island, like some Christians thought they were going to, and the guy got unalived.
Yeah, off the
I'll
coast
say
of
this.
Africa, I remember that. And then there's
Right,
Papua New
right.
Guinea, they've been untouched for eons.
Right.
I'll say this. I believe my
Thank God
God.
they're untouched.
I believe my
Um,
God grants free will. And that means that he wrote the Monopoly game. And what's so great about that is when people go, well, why do babies unalive, from cancer at 2 years old? Because we've been putting chemicals in food since the beginning of
No, it's
whatever.
because God
Hold on, let me
created
land my
chemicals
plane
and
here.
put them in the food, so that.
Well, what I mean is,
but God created
Oh,
every
hold
single
on, hold
thing.
on,
So
hold
he
on.
created the good
Let him
and
finish.
bad.
Let him finish.
I'm sorry, Yoda.
so-
I'm sorry.
so if at the end of the journey, he can't be blamed. Whatever was good and bad, we have done it all. We were the ones that dropped the nukes. We were the one that put the chemicals in the food. We were the one that chose money over health over and over and over again. And I think at the end, it is a morality test, because whether it's year 1 or year 2025, it's been the same morality test throughout history.
So let me ask you this. So in the Bible, there is a verse that says that God commands and cements cements your steps. He guides them. He makes the path. So I don't know where free will, and holds your hand along
Well, it says in the Bible,
and walks with.
God-
I'm 1 second, and walks with you. So he's already got your path worked out for you. So an omnipotent God who knows all from beginning to end, and supposedly this morality test. why the hell does an omnipotent being need to test you when he already knows what's going to happen? Does that make any sense to you? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Shits and giggles.
I
Hey,
mean,
Jessica,
because
thank you.
honestly, if this is like a thing for somebody's entertainment, or
Yeah,
because he's honestly, the God of the Bible is a horrible. He's a terrible being,
I
terrible
agree.
being,
Let me
and
welcome
I
in
don't want
another
to worship.
guest.
I don't want to
Hang
worship
on, hang
that
on.
deity
Jessica,
ever.
hello. Thank you for the amazing gift. I appreciate that. How you doing this
I'll be
evening?
quiet now.
Well, that one wasn't me. I think that might have been Traffic that gave the gift.
Oh,
Um,
thank
but
you, Traffic.
um,
For some reason, it was under you for a minute. So thank you, Traffic.
I just
You're a monster.
I just had a quick question because like I just came in, so I haven't heard the full conversation. I came in just in time to hear I talk I guess talk what yeah,
Taco
Taco
Cat.
Cat say that it's a morality thing. So I don't know if this has already been asked or anything like that, but do you think that, or are you of the opinion that Christians are morally superior to those who do not believe in Christianity?
I think absolutely. When you look at our youth today, the
Oh,
gangs
the
that
data
are in
doesn't
our
support what you're
streets,
saying.
I would like to
hold
challenge
on,
that
the
and just
gangs and
just
everything there, rather than a community that practices every Sunday and Wednesday morality. They have morality
okay.
sessions and talk about morality.
So then let me ask you, would it not be logical to say, like I will say I am not a Christian. I do not believe in Christianity. I was raised Southern Baptist, so I'm pretty damn familiar with Christianity. I just don't believe in it anymore. That being said, would it not seem logical to say that people who are good people and live their lives helping others and being a good person while not believing God are actually more morally superior because we do it without the thought that we have to for fear of some sort of repercussion for all of eternity where we're going to face consequences. I don't believe that I'm going to face consequences if I'm a bad person and do dastardly things. I don't think that I'm going to burn in a lake of fire for all eternity if I live my life immorally. So I choose of my own reconnaissance to live a moral life and to help others and to volunteer within my community and to do all of the things that Christianity teaches, but I do that without having this fear of backlash over it if I don't, and trying to just achieve some unattainable reward of a supposed heaven. Would
Okay.
that not make me morally superior to you who just do it because you want to one day get into heaven?
No, because I think actual Christians don't do it to get into heaven. If you live a life through God and Christianity, then you just live that life. It's not to get in or get out. That decision will be made at the end. What I'm saying is this is a monopoly game. We've looked as far as we can in space. There's nobody else playing with us. The rules are set here on this earth. And you say, well, if I'm really bad, I don't think I'm going to be punished at the end of this game. But I kind of choose to be good. You know what? You can play that if you want, but most of the world chooses good morality as well. The
Did you
the,
say that there's no
the
one
amount
else
of bad
there in
morality
space?
does not even compare to the good morality that over succeeds it. That when
I
one
wish
country
that were
starts to take
true.
another country over, another country steps in and defends that. It's been that way for a long time now, about 100 years, that our
Can
morality is getting stronger, that we
can you
believe. Yes,
right,
ma'am.
can you point to me one single moment in history throughout all of human history that wars or conflicts or really vile evil things have happened specifically in the name of atheism? Because I can point to several that have happened in the name of Christianity.
Yeah, the
Same.
Civil War could be one.
The
Uh,
Civil War happened because of atheism?
no, because of Christianity, Christian values. Yeah.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
because they wanted to keep slaves.
that
No, we
wasn't my
wanted to fight
question.
we wanted to fight to
That
freedom.
was
You
not my
wanted to
question.
fight to keep slaves, and if you say that it's anything else, you are a liar, and you
What
need
did
to
the
go
other what did the
read
other
the
army want to do?
concession.
There was
You
two
need to
armies.
go read the articles of concession with the letters
Confederate.
that they wrote, to succeed from the Union, and they literally say it was over slavery.
That's correct. So one side fought to free it, one side fought to keep it. Are we in agreement to that?
That wasn't
Yeah,
my
and
question.
yeah,
Now we're
that
getting off
doesn't
No,
track
that
no,
here.
it's
didn't
okay. I
address
don't
the
mean to jump
question at
off.
all.
Go ahead. Yeah.
That wasn't my question. I said, can you point to me a single moment in history that either a war or any sort of conflict or really just any heinous sort of thing has ever happened to humanity in the name of atheism?
Any weekend in Chicago.
You're saying that any weekend in Chicago
Is
that a
fueled
bad
is
thing
Any
fueled by
happens
is
has
fueled by
happened?
any
atheism?
weekend in the Congo.
Is fueled by
Yoda.
atheism.
Well, they don't believe in a God. They're offing each
You're
other in record numbers.
actually they do. This
Oh, the gang members are
this
religious?
Typically, yeah,
narrative
actually.
that
Oh.
somehow atheists are more responsible for violence than religious people is just unsubstantiated by the facts, man.
I
The
guarantee you there's some numbers there.
There's not.
and yet nobody can ever present them to me. You know,
Well, because I don't think Crips and Bloods.
it's like when I ask people for contemporary historians, people insist that there are contemporary historians that wrote about Jesus, and yet no one has ever been able to provide a name.
Well, I've
So
already established that. I've learned that guy was not around. Doesn't mean that I don't think the book carries a 90-cent morality teaching that I wouldn't mind some youth people talking about amongst each other about
so
good lessons
so
in morality.
what's moral about like when your brother's wife, if your
Are
brother's
you
wife becomes
taking?
a widow, meaning your brother passes away, you as his brother get to climb on her until she produces a male heir. Is that moral?
Oh, I don't know. Is this a story in the Bible?
Yes, it
It is
is.
absolutely in the Bible.
Guys,
You should
when
You're
know
I
it.
go
sitting
to
You
here
church, they don't
arguing.
right?
tell the worst
Hold
parts of
on.
the Bible.
Stop.
I
Stop.
don't
You're
it
sitting
doesn't
here
matter.
advocating for
It does, right?
Christianity without
Because
the
in your
basic
church, that's
understanding
the
of
story
stories
you
in the
tell.
Bible.
No, that's in the Bible. It's not the story
Do
I
you
that
want
don't
me
I
to
give
go
a
get
tell.
that
shit.
verse?
It's
Do you want me
in
to get
But
that
there's
verse?
also
I'll
don't
pull it
be a
up.
slave with a stick bigger
Okay.
than your thumb.
Hold on, everybody, calm down. I am not creating facts. I am reporting what is in the Bible. Just
I
like if
agree.
you eat shellfish, you are committing an abomination. Just like if you mix the wrong fabrics. Just like if you mow your lawn on the Sabbath. These are not things that I've invented for this conversation. These are things that are in the
Okay.
Bible. So whether they're taught in your church or not is completely fucking immaterial. Then
Yeah. Well, yeah.
you
There's
know.
also don't beat a slave with a stick bigger than your thumb in there.
And you
So
think
once
that's
again,
moral?
there's a lot of bad stuff in the Bible, and what I want to say is let's take it out. No more Bible in America. No more Sundays and Wednesdays of moralities being taught in our country. No more.
You can teach morality without
No,
religion.
I don't see it happening in the atheist community. I don't see
It
atheist
happens all the
churches.
time.
I don't see atheist churches
Atheists
coming
give
up.
more to charity, and atheists are not
No.
responsible
I'm talking
for
about
morality.
community.
Atheists are not responsible because they're not an organized religion. It's
So
just
that's what I mean. No one's going to have any more lessons and talk about good things anymore, man. You're just
that's
going to
ridiculous.
assume.
That's a
not
ridiculous
wrong.
assumption.
That's not right.
That's
The I
totally
the I
ridiculous.
because before organized religion, villages all modified people's behavior. If there were people that were acting aberrantly for any reason, or they were committing transgressions, the village straightened those people out. They didn't need a tome to tell them how to do that. And I taught my son plenty of morality without using religion. So the idea that somehow religion has a lock on morality, it just means that you have not read the Bible.
I couldn't imagine a country that.
to say too that people, if we got rid of religion, that nobody would be teaching morality is just so asinine.
That makes
can't
no
even
sense.
begin
Where
to
are
wrap my
any
head-
of the
Sir,
buildings that
sir,
teach this stuff without Jesus?
We don't
Sir,
need buildings.
Atheists
Name
are
one
by
You just need
nature.
people.
Name
You
one
Atheists
just
by
need
building.
nature
people.
live lives with
I'll
the
wait.
intention of
But I
not
What-
harming
I would
others.
Why
love
do
for
you
you to
need
win.
build? Even Jesus Christ said that church was unnecessary. So
You don't have anything. You have not one
my
leader.
son is
You have
6
you
years
nothing.
don't
old.
need
Nothing.
a leader. You just need good people teaching
You
their
guys said
children
it
to
would
be
fucking
good.
happen. You
What?
said it would happen. You said
It
if
does
there was no
happen.
church, then
It
these
does
that these
happen
lessons
every
of
day.
morality would be
How
taught.
did I
I
teach
will-
my son to be moral outside of the church?
I'm sure you sat them down and had a conversation with them. Didn't
Okay,
you?
so that's not possible without a church?
That's not happening anywhere.
What do
I
you mean
don't
it's not
see it.
happening?
How do you know
It's
So
that?
you're,
I just
happening.
gave you an
the
example
English
of
way
my
is
doing it.
parenting.
How is that not happening?
So
You're
the
you're
Your
getting
English
church
way
is
at this
telling you
point.
that,
At
sir.
this point, I
Wait a
think
second.
you kind of fell off a cliff in this conversation,
Not at
and
all.
you're
You're
just
saying the
saying nutty
atheist
things
method.
right now. You're
Wait a
just saying
second. The
you're saying
But
nutty
if your
atheist,
church
things.
is only teaching
sir,
you
I'm
roses,
confirming your
sunshine,
Hey,
and
words.
don't
fairies,
say
that's
nutty.
not
Use something
religion.
May
else.
I may I for just a moment, really quick? My son is 6 years old. My son has never been raised with religion, but my son knows we treat people with kindness. We don't hurt people. He knows all about morality. I am raising my son with morality without ever having brought in Jesus or God or any sort of religion. Now, I'm not personally an atheist. I'm not a Christian, but I'm not an atheist. I have my own personal religious beliefs that I subscribe to. My child doesn't even know what they are. My child doesn't even know what my religion is because my child is still young enough to be influenced and indoctrinated, and I refuse to indoctrinate my child before he is old enough to fully form that decision by himself. So my child is being raised without any teachings of any religion, including my own, and he is still being taught morality. It's not hard to do, my guy. And if
Let's
you're not personally seeing it happen, then you need to fucking get out more and talk to some more people of other faiths.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess
let's
I'd
because your
like
take a
to
church
talk
is
pause.
telling
to.
Let's
you
take a
that
pause.
not believing in God is
Everybody,
immoral.
take a pause. We have two more guests that came on, and I want to welcome them. I appreciate the passion, but we can't get out of control. J.K., how you doing?
I'm okay, but this is way off. If
Which part?
somebody's religion is teaching you everything is roses and sunshine and skipping the stories about how they stone people for different things, or how they would rape other tribes women,
Easy,
or
easy,
that,
easy. We got to use
Rape.
TikTok friendly language.
right,
So, look,
they're
here's an example of the morality taught in the Bible. If a young woman has relations out of wedlock, the villagers need to drag her through the town to her father's footsteps where they stone her until she perishes. Yeah, that sounds moral to me. Hello, traffic man. How you doing?
Good evening. How are you tonight?
I'm excellent.
I heard the ladies tell her, and you said to yourself that you guys are good parents. You sit your children down and you have honest talks with them. How many good parents do we have in America? How many good parents do we have that sit our children down and have honest, good talks with them? Or are they bad parents that turn bad kids that turn bad
I would
parents?
argue
And
that almost
around and
every
around and
atheist does
around.
that. I would argue
I
that
mean, I so
I've never
where
met
is
a
your
single
evidence
atheist
that
parent that
Catholic
doesn't.
people are doing such a great job teaching
Or
morality?
evangelicals.
77 million people not only just voted for a convicted felon, but 47% of them said in a recent poll that if he was guilty of being a PDF file, they would still vote for him. That's 36 million fucking people. That's 10% of the American population. And you know what? Almost all of them refer to themselves as Christian.
And let's talk about how the large percentage of people that are that we have listed, the Southern Baptists, the Catholic, the clergy that have essayed children, it comes from the churches.
But
It
how
comes
could
from the
it?
I'm
church.
Because it's
glad. I'm
so
It's
glad we're bringing
moral.
this
It's
up.
so moral. How
the
could it
percentage.
possibly
I
I'm
know
glad
happen?
the
we're bringing this
percentage
up.
of it is like it's wild.
I
What the
agree.
percentage of clergy and people who are attached to the church or whatever. It's not the trans people. It's not the drag queens.
Well, I'm so glad we're
It's
bringing that up
right. Yeah,
because
let's.
New York, Hillside Elementary,
Mm-mm.
started teaching this stuff in kindergarten, trans ideology, binary, different
Okay,
stuff
No,
like
they
that.
you're
didn't.
finished.
No,
You're
they
finished.
didn't.
You're
No, they
done.
didn't.
You are
Stop
done.
it.
I cannot
Stop it.
tolerate the bashing of tea people. I cannot tolerate misinformation and horse shit. He sounded intelligent, but eventually he just jumped the shark. You can
Yep.
type
Yep.
Hillside Elementary in all caps all you want. It
again.
doesn't make a difference. What you're saying is fucking goofy.
It's false. It's false. They didn't teach ideology. What they probably did was
Look it up.
respect
Oh my
children.
God! Now you fully transitioned into a MAGA hat propaganda parrot. Look it up.
Demonize and
Holy shit!
look it up.
I
Oh,
can't
don't
believe
worry,
that
I
his
am.
church teaches him nothing but the roses and sunshine.
I
That
Well,
know. He
like,
said, could you imagine an adult? Can you imagine an adult that says, "My church doesn't teach me the bad parts of the Bible"? Holy shit!
like
I would
really? Right,
I would mute him and
right.
block him in a New York minute
Yeah.
if I was you.
it's on my TikTok.
Just
You know
saying.
what?
Yeah, I
There's
can guarantee
unicorns on
you
my
that it
TikTok
was
too.
probably not teaching the ideology. It was probably respecting pronouns and respecting children who came in and were allowed to wear what they wanted and were comfortable wearing.
What does
And
it
I think
even
that's
mean to
healthy. I
call it an
think plain dress
ideology?
up,
It's ridiculous.
right?
It's not a
No, it's
fucking
ridiculous. Plain
ideology.
right. It's like my kid who wouldn't take his Buzz Lightyear costume off for I don't know, a year. I had to like tear it up, peel it off of him while he was sleeping to wash it. And then I had another one that walked around for 6 months, wouldn't answer to anything but Harry Potter.
You
I
know,
mean,
once these fucking lunatics get on to bashing tea people, I'm done.
they
It's
always
like
do.
where does you talk about morality and then you want to vilify less than 1% of the population that doesn't fucking bother anybody? God
Anybody,
damn it!
nobody.
The
They just
school
want to
probably
live
had
and
a book
survive.
about my
I'll
two
tell you. I'll
dads,
tell you
and
what.
then
If
that
I had a choice of babysitter between a tea person and a white tea male, guess who the fuck I'd choose 10 out of 10 times?
I'm
Yeah,
taking the
tea
Every day,
person.
trans
every
person
tea
every
single
person,
day.
day,
hands
Give
down.
me the tea
all day.
people. Give me the drag queens reading fucking bedtime stories.
In a
Fuck these
heartbeat.
people.
All
Oh
day.
my God. How
All
could
day long.
to assert that you can't possibly teach morality without one of the worst books in history is just ludicrous.
It's insane. It is.
A book that in
You
the
know what
Old
it is?
Testament and the New
What we
Testament
see
has
happening.
instructions for managing slaves. Get the
Right.
fuck out.
Well,
Right.
don't
Right.
listen.
Never
Hey,
never
hey,
condemns it. Never condemns it. Never says
don't,
it's bad, right? But our
don't,
God never changes, and our God is the same, and our God is good, and he is righteous, and he is just, and from all of history he has never changed and never always the same.
don't
Oh yeah.
ever.
Except he gave instructions on slavery. He called a woman a dog. He made her beg for healing for a child. Like, I mean, the things in the Bible, the stories in the Bible obviously are misogynist. I mean, let's talk about the Sodom and Gomorrah and how the wives turned into
Adam
a
and
pillar of
Eve.
salt. Adam and
Ripping
Eve. I mean,
women,
you could start
having
there.
dogs
But I mean,
rip
the
women
story where
apart.
they say that the daughters got him drunk, right? So they could go make lay down with him, as they say, and
Make the smooth
continue the
moves.
family line. That is so switched around. Don't tell me that's how that worked, because what happened was the dad probably, you know what I mean, like that story was flipped. I mean, let's be honest, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many examples of that, and
How
women, like we were
how about
talking
the
in one of the
story?
deconstruction videos or lives about Jezebel and how she was, and it says nowhere in there about her
Torn apart by
occupation,
dogs.
right?
Well, it also doesn't say that Mary was a P-toot.
Hmm.
It was
Right.
actually they were actually referring to a P-toot in the story, and then started talking about Mary Magdalene, but it was never established that she was a P-toot.
Right. Right. Mary
But
Magdalene
here,
was
I got a
never,
better story for you. I forget
never
where it
either.
is in the Bible. I'd have to go look it up, but there's a story where God commands, as he does very often, to go wipe out a village, and explains, wipe out all the men, and all the older women who have known men, and keep the young girls for yourself. Literally says that in no ambiguous terms.
Right. Doesn't that sound like a good guy?
That's so
Right? Doesn't that sound
moral.
like a good
That's
guy?
so
And
righteous.
it's always go conquer. It's never go and negotiate, go and help, go assist, go work with this
Yeah.
community. It's always go and wipe out this community, right?
Anyone
it's
that
never
displeases me's got to go, because
gotta go.
that sounds
Gotta
like the
go.
creator of the universe. I mean, look at the 10 Commandments. The first thing is don't love anybody except me. Don't worship
Right.
anybody except me. Don't make little trinkets that look like me. don't mow your lawn on my day off, all that horse shit. I mean, and thou shalt not, KILL, is way down on the list at like 5 or 6. Like,
Right.
really?
Yep.
You're not starting with that one?
Right. So let's talk about how they sold those things so that you could save your soul to build the church. They were using it to the money to build the church, so you
Yeah.
could save your soul as a from the wars that they were the Christian crusades, they were sending them out to
Mhm.
conquer and colonize. Yeah.
Oh, also, hot take here. So you know how this is for all the Christians that are like, "Oh, he's the only God. It's none of the other gods exist. He's the only true God, right?" So then, wouldn't it make now just follow my reasoning here? If he has to tell you, only worship me, I am the only one you should worship, wouldn't that in and of itself kind of imply that there are in fact other gods, he just wants you to choose him?
You can
Right.
infer that very
Or
clearly.
Jessica,
in
you're
their own
using
Bible it
logic to
says.
determine. You're using your cognitive skills to see outside the box.
Jessica has a habit of
You
using
gotta
facts to
watch that.
ruin a good story.
Yes,
Dang
absolutely.
it.
Logic
My
Dang
versus
it.
blind faith,
I,
they don't quite compute.
I'm sorry. I'm a babbler. I'm so sorry. Just say shut up, Nutty. It's really okay. It's real. I will not be offended because I will just start talking randomly. My thing is that right
Okay, shut
now,
up, honey.
this whole Christian nationalism thing, I'm
Danny
telling
beat
you,
me
I'll be
to it.
quiet. The whole Christian nationalism thing and them wanting to put it in our schools is because if they haven't gotten the Christian indoctrination by, I believe it's like age 9, then the likelihood of it grabbing on is very low,
That's
right?
why they started
And
baptizing children instead of waiting until they became adults. That's how they used to
right,
baptize people.
right. So you could make the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, it's really just a sign and symbol of the patriarchy and the Christians and the YT realizing that their grasp on power and being the top of the heap and in charge of everything is is coming to an end. It's like
And
their
they know
last
that
hanging on
brown
by the
people
claws
are
and
out
toenails,
banging
right?
them, and we're building our population while theirs is dwindling. You know why?
Right.
Because
Yeah,
you can't
right.
bang the country music. That's why.
No, really, you
My
can't.
mother's my
Nah,
sister.
nah, you need
Yeah.
something for sure.
Oh,
For sure.
don't forget too about how like, oh, Christianity is so great because it's the only ones that cares about children. But meanwhile, God's sitting here
Please.
saying, "Oh, I'm just going to
Listen.
go through and wipe out every single firstborn unless you give me a blood offering." You
No,
know,
Right.
you have to
You already said
understand.
that.
You have to
Wait. You
understand.
you mean the story of Easter is not a beautiful story of God's love when he went around slaughtering the firstborn, not only children but like cattle too, just to
you
prove a
know,
point?
Mm-hmm.
and those damn plagues, you know, and just all the havoc and all of the destruction and all of the lives lost. But yeah, we totally care about
Wait,
life
I know
still.
there's a really good story of when God was displeased with his creation and decided to flood the earth and drown everybody except a family of 8. That's a loving, beautiful story, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it really showing God's mercy, right?
Listen, all that's important is you have to understand that you have to be moral enough to not group up with a group of 42 young men and then criticize Elijah, because if you do, God will send 2 bears after you.
Actually, it was one. It was a she bear.
Was it one bear? Sorry.
It was
Yes.
one
Okay.
bear
Yeah. My
that
bad.
wiped out all the teenage boys because that's
Yes.
important.
They made fun of Elijah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Poor
being
Elijah.
bald. They made fun of him because he was bald, and the she bear tore into a group of roughly about 12 or 15 young children. They were all described basically as teenagers because that's
Mm-hmm.
loving. That's like, come on, man. I mean, and
Right.
hey,
Or allowing
here's a
allowing
little
the
secret, by the way. Since I referenced Genesis earlier with Adam and Eve, God is a liar. Because
oh,
he
totally a
told
liar.
he told them if they ate the fruit of the tree, not an apple, he never said apple, fruit of the tree of knowledge, that they would perish, and they did not perish after they ate the fruit. So he lied. The only one that
We're
told the
talking
truth was the serpent.
we're talking about a book that's been rewritten how many times in how many different languages that don't have words that equal the same language
Hmm.
that they were originally written in. So they don't define the same things, the same situations,
Sure.
but let's follow it to a T, like
Right.
it's
Like it makes
gospel,
sense.
quote unquote.
I mean, it's the longest
Well, like,
telephone
I mean,
game
really,
ever.
Hmm.
in the Bible, how many times did the Satan ever actually cause or do any harm?
Apparently, there was a scholar that one time did the body count, and God was in the millions, and Satan was hardly any. Because really, Satan was just an angel who disagreed with God. That was it.
And besides the languages, it's been rewritten and how many books were removed over and over and
Oh yeah,
over.
yeah. I mentioned way earlier, probably about an hour and a half ago, that the the Sinai text, which is the only, which is the oldest surviving copy of the Bible, has over 13,000 differences with the King James version. So they left out a lot because a king had a specific agenda. It was Karl Marx who said that religion is the opiate of the people. And, take from that what you will. It's a tool of control, and it always has been. And kings always claim to be anointed by God so that you'll listen to what they said. And, when you have people that don't know anything, that, are using leeches as a form of healing without knowing exactly how that works, who are drilling holes in your head to let out the bad humors, they might not have a full grasp of the universe.
I mean, it's amazing. You basically described Trump and the MAGA base.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What a coincidence, isn't it?
So
That
this
they
has
sit
been
down
a
in big TV
spirited
dinners at Red
live
Lobster.
session. It took a turn that I certainly did not expect because I was using the flipping tables metaphor to criticize this administration, but we got into it, and I'm glad we did. I'm glad to root out somebody and block someone who has disgusting ideas that wants to vilify tea people for no fucking reason. Oh Lord. Oh, they're indoctrinating people. Really? Have you looked at 7-year-olds in beauty pageants with full makeup on, and you want to talk about the dangers of drag queens reading bedtime stories? Shut the fuck up.
I did look up what he was talking about. Do you want to know what the indoctrination was?
Oh, sure.
It was teaching kindergartners that they should identify people as who they are.
Oh my God.
Shocking.
How
Ooh,
Whoa.
yeah,
terrifying.
exactly. Yeah, I know, right?
How
Yeah, right.
terrifying. What a threat to humanity, you know?
Oh,
Not foreigners don't deserve due process. Gah.
exactly.
Oh, but all lives matter until it's time to feed them to the alligators, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or not feed
All
them at
lives
all.
matters. They always leave out the one word. All YT lives matter. Even the
Hmm.
fact that they came up with that as a response to Black Lives Matter. It's like, that's like a dude with a paper cut walking into the cancer ward going, all injuries matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is a very good metaphor.
Thank you very much.
Hmm.
All right, we're gonna shut this thing down. Let's see. There's been people hanging around for a minute. I'll try to figure out the order. Let's start with the Nutty Broad. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Um, just one. Just remember that it's not necessary to have, the threat of burning in a lake of fire forever, or the promise of having to worship, with those people for all of eternity, in order to be good. That's it.
I agree. thanks so much for being here, and
Thank
hopefully we'll
you.
see you
I'm so
soon.
glad my mic finally worked.
Yeah, me too. All right, so let's see. Jessica, any final thoughts?
Kind of echoing what she said. If you think that you need religion to have a sense of morality, you're not talking to enough people outside of your religion.
That
You're
is an
not
excellent
studying
point.
history
Yeah,
or your own religious text.
yeah.
That's pretty
I
much
mean,
it.
can you imagine? I still can't get over a grown man saying, "My church doesn't teach us the bad parts of the Bible." That's
That's insane.
that's fucking hilarious. Anyway, thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.
All right. All right, JK, any final thoughts?
I lost my blind faith with Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. A book that's been rewritten that many times. I've tried. I've gone back to church multiple times. I've tried to assimilate. I can't believe in a doctrine that promotes SA. I can't. I've just lost it. So people need to wake up and see what's really happening in these churches, and believing that they're pure is insane.
I agree 100%. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Traffic man, any final thoughts? And take your time. I'm in no
Yes.
particular hurry. I just
Nice.
thought we'd reach the apex of the conversation.
There you go. Sorry about hopping in so late this evening, but
God damn
my
it.
final thought is, yeah, I know, right? How could you exist without me?
And you
No.
were late.
Uh,
Where were you late, young man? Where
I,
the
I
hell were you?
It's what you're
I
gonna
was I
you're
was
gonna
I was
use the
making fun of
excuse of you
derailed
were living your
vehicles.
life or some shit like that.
Yeah,
He
right. Well,
probably
well,
lost
I
his
was
fifth hump.
I was making fun of derailed, and then I accidentally doxed a um, UK judge. That's a story for a different day. That's not, this is closing our closing statements, so we'll come back to that later.
I'd actually love to hear that story, please. How did
Yeah,
you
me
dox
Okay,
too.
a
okay.
UK judge?
Yeah,
Well,
let's
well,
hear
okay. So, see, Jessica was in the live. So, a gentleman had come up into the live, was obviously heavily inebriated, and he started rambling on about very specific things in his career in the UK. And so, I was just kind of like, I'm sitting here kind of in the background, and I got on Google and I looked to see if there were any judges in the UK in this certain court with his name on his profile. And what I found was there was a judge who was recently convicted of some bad things, who was removed from being a judge. And so I said, "Hey, is this you?" You know, not even thinking that this would be a thing. And the guy stopped talking for a minute, and then he chuckled really weird, and then just continued on with the conversation. And it's like, oh my god, I accidentally doxed this guy.
Well, that doesn't really count as doxing. You just found a story about the guy.
Right. I mean, he's a public figure,
Yeah.
kind of a thing at that point. But it is funny that I was able to make that connection of him. And yeah, sure enough, that no, it was him, heavily inebriated, and he was constantly hitting on Jessica the entire time, which
Yeah.
makes sense to one of the reasons why he was removed. But
Yeah.
uh, what I will say, as far as my closing statement, is there's a reason the founding fathers made the First Amendment, the first sentence in the First Amendment, to say Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion, because they lived through it. They lived through it. They understood that the combination of religion and government are just bad. This is not something we need to do.
Yeah,
And,
because governments run on
you know,
facts.
exactly, exactly. And so I don't know what it's going to take to have, the current American population kind of realize that, but here we are.
If I had to guess, I would say the same meteor that took out the dinosaurs.
That's fine.
Yeah,
So,
I'm kind of on George Carlin's side with this. I think it's time for the next big meteor
yep,
because we've done a really good job of fucking things up. So
exactly.
I don't think I think this is something Einstein said. You can't fix a problem with the same thinking that created it. So we're
Right.
we're going to need to understand and accept that our ideas led to pure shit. And yeah, there's some good things sprinkled in there somewhere, but the way the world is right now, especially the way America is, it's just clearly we're not we don't deserve this. We don't deserve this beautiful planet that has enough nutrients and resources for everyone to be safe and fed and happy and just go about their business of living. We decided that we're going to charge you for rent and we're going to claim that we own a piece of the earth and then charge you for rent. We're going to claim that we own some of the water and charge you for water. I mean, it's all just
Yep.
absurd. So our species just did not do a good job with the gift that we were given because Louis C.K. had a great routine about this, where God comes back and somebody's kind of explaining to God what's going on, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I gotta go to work," and God's like, "What's work?" He's like,
Right.
I need to make money." What the fuck is money? And he says, I need money
Yeah.
to buy food. He's like, God says, "What do you mean? I put food everywhere."
Yeah. Exactly.
you know And so,
Yep.
like, and it's true. Like, CK has a great way of like just putting these things into a brilliant package. But the fact is that what he's saying makes absolute sense. The world is equipped to keep everybody satisfied and safe and happy. We have that ability, and man's intervention in terms of being able to manipulate nature to a degree that no other species has been able to do in many ways is fantastic. Like right now, I am indoors. So if it started raining, I wouldn't experience the rain. When it gets too hot, I don't have to experience the heat. When it gets too cold, I don't have to experience the cold. That's amazing. That is a manipulation of nature that helps us thrive as a species. But all this other shit, where we're going to have a small group of people hoarding all of the resources and making other people suffer in order to get those resources, I'm sorry, that's just dumb shit.
Yep. No, you're
I sound
absolutely
like my
correct.
ex-wife now saying I'm sorry before I make a point. That's funny. But anyway,
That's all good.
but thank you, as always, for being here. Thank you for the phenomenal gift
Yes.
that you gave earlier.
Absolutely. Thank
And,
you. Totally worth it.
hopefully we'll see you soon, brother.
All right. Have a good night. Good night, Grandpa.
Good night there, traffic man.
It looks like Ashley wants to come in. Normally, I don't let people in during closing remarks, but Ashley, how you doing this evening?
Are y'all closing down the shop?
We are, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Oh no, I just came in to say hello. I don't want to keep you guys up any
Oh,
later.
and don't worry about us. Danny and I will be up way after this.
Oh, you're my
So,
gal.
did you? I don't know how much of the
I
conversation you caught.
I just walked in.
Oh, okay. So you missed all the fireworks, but well, how was your day?
It was good. I rested a lot today. I took yesterday and today off of work because I was still feeling bad. So I just took lots of naps. That was my day.
That's a good thing. Well, sleep is the only time that our bodies regenerate, so it's vitally important. And I'm glad that you had an opportunity to rest and get a little healing in your body.
And I got some chocolate chip cookies.
There you go. So that'll
Okay,
counteract
that's
all the
enough.
healing that you went through today. Fantastic.
And you're having cookies without me. I can't believe you
I'm
had my
so
chocolate chip
sorry.
cookie.
I'll have to.
My favorite cookie. You
Chocolate
know,
chip is your favorite?
that's right. Absolute
Oh, that's
favorite of all
noted.
times.
So,
Oh, I'll have to send you some cookies.
Ashley, if you would like
I will
to
send you
hear
my
what we
address.
discussed, thankfully
Yes.
there's another platform which I can't name but there's a U in the name. There's a TUBE in the name,
Yep.
and
Yep.
if you look for a channel called The Persistent Rumor, and you go to the live tab, you will see this episode and all the other, uh, live episodes. So it was a very interesting conversation that went into a deep discussion about religion, and we had an idiot come up here and say really stupid things about it. So that was fun.
No.
But aside from that, hopefully we'll see you soon, and I hope you keep feeling better.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye bye. Danny, last man standing. Any final thoughts about this wild ride that we went on tonight?
I need an ibuprofen from this one. I'm telling you, I was if I could have pulled my hair out, I would have, but I don't have no hair on top,
Yeah,
so it was really. Anyway, I am so glad that you decided to block and drop this
yeah.
dude.
No,
He was
I can't tolerate anybody attacking marginalized groups of people with no provocation, no reason, no logic, no justification, just to do it. Like, shut the fuck up. I just can't.
he sounded too good to be true when he came in, real nice, polite, and everything. And I just knew deep
He was
inside,
reasonable until he wasn't. That happens.
I knew deep inside of me he was a MAGA, and I knew he voted for Trump. There is no doubt in my mind that he did.
I
So
didn't
I
even
just,
think about it. I was just focused on the conversation, and again, he started off sounding pretty normal and pretty intelligent, and then just
yeah,
veered off a cliff.
you did. But anyway, hey, you handled it right. Uh, but I knew it was going to go bad soon as we went down that rabbit hole of religion. And it
I mean,
just,
I didn't. We've had plenty of religious conversations that didn't turn into that
it's all about
nonsense. So,
him. You
yeah.
know,
So, it was only once he just turned the corner into trying to convince us that somehow Catholicism is moral. I'm like, dude, there is no evidence to support that
no,
whatsoever.
no. One of the reasons why I left the church was one the divorce I went through because I was not raised Catholic. I went to catechism classes, became Catholic for Rosemary, my first wife. But as soon as I got out of church and I saw what was going on with my eyes open, wide open, with all the pedo priests that are involved in those, I was glad to be gone, and I will never go back. And you don't have to worry when it comes to my final resting ceremony. It won't be Catholic, so you won't have to worry about that. There'll be no priest talking at mine. If anybody were to talk at my eulogy or give my eulogy, it would be you or Jordan or both of you.
That would
So,
be phenomenal. But that's why, of the thousand reasons that I had for sharing what I did yesterday, my main goal was like, I don't believe in waiting till somebody's face up in a box to tell everybody what's great about that person. I want people to hear that while they're here. So I wanted you to know how I felt. I wanted the world to know how I felt. And now it lives on the internet for as long as it will. And, I'm satisfied.
and I saved it in my on my YouTube in my family folder,
Excellent.
and so that way my kids and grandkids,
Yeah.
all see it at some time because it was phenomenal, and I can't overly state how much it meant to me. All your
It was
lovely
my
words and
pleasure.
kindness.
Totally my pleasure, you know. So, yeah, so, look, this has been another great live. I felt a little rusty yesterday in the beginning. I kind of warmed up after after I started talking about you. I got dialed in and I felt good. And today it felt good, And like I said, I have a minor agenda when I come into these things. Sometimes I have a topic, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll just pull something up that I was thinking about. Especially when I do the coaching type sessions where I come up with some kind of moralistic idea or some kind of cultural idea or whatever it is, personal development. But no matter what I come up with, I'm always delighted to have the panel take it in different directions and sometimes completely abandon the original thing and move on to something even more fascinating. That's why I'm never upset when the subject gets changed because it's a great conversation.
Absolutely. And it was a good live. Like you said, it did kind of go south there a bit, but overall, it was an excellent live, and I was proud to be a member of the panel as usual.
Yeah,
And I hope the chat finally came out of their unconsciousness and got you up to 32,000 likes,
that's a good
almost
thing.
33.
That's a
So,
good
and
thing.
you knocked out some gift codes, so it was
Yes, sir.
all above a success.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, thank you as always, and we will be talking soon. With any luck, we'll reconvene tomorrow at your live. And for those who don't know, Danny does a phenomenal live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Monday and Wednesday, topical stuff, but always with a positive outlook. Friday, I will just promise you, hands down, you will not find anywhere else on any platform on social media where you're going to have the fun that we have Friday nights playing Trivial Pursuit with Danny. It's you just have to experience it to understand. It's just unbelievable. So come on down and have fun with us. But tomorrow is business as usual. So if you're not following Danny, I think you're a goofy person. Please start following him now, and let's get it going. And Danny, we will absolutely talk soon, man. Have a great night.
I appreciate you, and you have a great day. And I love you, brother.
Love you. And also, a bonus live that Danny does is the first and third Sunday of every month. I believe he's going to move it to 3 p.m. Pacific time, which means his usual time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And that is Vet Talk, which is veterans helping veterans. You'll want to be involved with that. If you know any veterans, um, Danny's Vet Talk is not about war stories. It's not about bullshit. It's literally about helping veterans negotiate the benefits. And believe it or not, you would just sort of assume that veterans know what they're entitled to and what the resources are, but they really don't. So get people first Sunday, third Sunday every month. Again, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, just like his regular show. But get veterans there, man. The conversations are very powerful and they're very helpful. And he literally steers veterans in the right direction, not only with his own knowledge, but the knowledge of other veterans that come up on the on the panel and help veterans out. So, with that, again, I'm here Monday through Saturday for Yoddah Live, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I might start changing my schedule slightly to incorporate more of my coaching stuff, but it'll be gradual, and you'll all have a chance to adjust if you choose to. Until then, as always, peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.